Okay, picture this, a train that doesn't roll on wheels, but actually flies just above the track. It's like a silent bullet floating on a cushion of air, so fast it completely blurs the line between a train ride and a flight. Now, this isn't some far-off science fiction dream. This is Maglev, and today we're going to dig into how it all works. Let's just start with one number, 603. That's kilometers per hour. For those of us thinking in miles, that's 375 miles an hour. That is the world speed record for a train, and it was set by Japan's Maglev way back in 2015. To put that in perspective, you could cross an entire football field in less than a second. It's just mind-bendingly fast. So how is that even possible? Well, the secret isn't about what these trains have, it's about what they don't have. They have no wheels. By completely getting rid of the friction, that grinding of steel on steel, Maglev unlocks a level of speed and acceleration that conventional trains can only dream about. So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll cover the basics of what a maglev actually is. Then, we'll dive into the cool part, the two different ways magnets make it fly. After that, we'll take a look at its surprisingly long history, ask the big question of why we don't see them everywhere, and finally, look ahead to what's next. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. What exactly is a maglev? At its core, it's all about one simple, powerful idea: eliminating friction. The name maglev is just short for magnetic levitation, and that pretty much says it all. The whole idea is to use incredibly powerful magnets to literally lift the entire train up off the track. So there are no wheels, there's no contact, and most importantly, there's no rolling friction. This means it takes less energy to get to and stay at those crazy high speeds, and the ride is unbelievably smooth and quiet. Okay, moving on. How do you actually use magnets to make a multi-ton train just fly? Well, you might think there's just one way to do it, but there are actually two competing technologies out there, two totally different philosophies on how to achieve levitation. So on one side, you have electromagnetic suspension, or EMS. The easiest way to think about this is like a magnet sticking to your fridge. It's all about attraction. The train has these arms that wrap around the track, and powerful electromagnets pull it upwards, holding it in place with a tiny gap. Then you've got electrodynamic suspension, or EDS. This one is all about repulsion. Like when you try to push the same poles of two magnets together. The magnets on the train and the track literally push each other apart, and that's what lifts the train. The catch, though, is that EDS only works when the train is moving fast, so it actually needs wheels to get started. And this table really lays out the big trade-offs. EMS, which is what the famous Shanghai maglev uses, works at any speed, even a dead stop, no wheels needed. But it's naturally unstable. It's like trying to balance a pencil on its tip. It needs a constant stream of computer corrections to maintain that super precise 15-millimeter gap. On the other hand, EDS, the tech behind Japan's record breaker, is dynamically stable. If it gets bumped, the magnetic forces naturally push it right back into place. This allows for a bigger gap, higher speeds, and heavier loads, but it comes with the complexity of needing wheels for takeoff and landing, so to speak. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking maglev is some brand new cutting-edge idea, but the dream of a floating train? Oh, that goes back more than a century. This has been a very, very long road. I mean, can you believe this? The very first model was shown off all the way back in 1912. But it took a really long time to go from a small model to a full-blown train. The first commercial system didn't open until 1984, and it was just a slow little airport shuttle. The first high-speed line, that wasn't until 2003 in Shanghai. And then, of course, 2015 when Japan just shattered the records. It's really been a slow burn. Which, of course, brings us to the elephant in the room. If this technology is so amazing, so fast, so futuristic, why isn't it everywhere? Well, this is where we have to talk about promise versus reality. This is the big question, right? We've got the tech for trains that can outrun race cars, that are quiet, smooth, and aren't affected by bad weather. So why on earth are there only a handful of them operating in the entire world? Well, the truth is, the challenges are absolutely enormous. First, let's talk about the cost. It is staggering. The Shanghai line cost $1.2 billion for just over 30 kilometers of track. That's astronomical. Second, you can't just run these on existing railway lines. They need their own, brand-new, purpose-built infrastructure. And third, while you get rid of wheel friction, you can't escape air resistance. And fighting air drag at those high speeds takes a massive amount of energy. So when you add it all up, it's easy to see why, after 100 years, there are still only 7 maglev systems operating today. So, what does the future hold for floating trains?
Is Maglev just a fascinating but ultimately impractical idea, or is its real journey just beginning?
Well, the story is definitely not over yet. Just look at Japan. Right now, they're building the Chuo Shinkansen. This is a massive, nation-defining project that's going to connect Tokyo and Nagoya at over 500 kilometers per hour. When it's done, it'll cut the travel time between those two cities in half. It's a huge bet, and it shows that some places are still all in on a Maglev future. So let's put Maglev head-to-head with its biggest competitor, conventional high-speed rail. Maglev wins on top speed and acceleration, for sure. And with no moving parts touching, maintenance costs are way lower. But high-speed rail has a secret weapon. It can often use existing tracks to get into cities, which slashes construction costs and complexity. That's the main reason so many countries go with what they know. And what about comparing it to air travel? This is where it gets really interesting. For trips under, say, 800 kilometers, about 500 miles, Maglev becomes a serious contender. Think about it. By the time you travel to the airport, go through security, wait to board, and taxi, a Maglev can get you from one city center directly to another, often in less time. Plus, it's not affected by weather delays. For longer trips, though, airplanes flying high up in the thin air are still way more efficient. And that leaves us right here. Maglev is a technology of extremes. It's the fastest, it's the smoothest, but it's also one of the most expensive and difficult to build. For decades, it's felt like it's been just on the verge of a breakthrough. But now, with enormous projects like the Chuo Shinkansen actually being built, you have to wonder, after a century of dreaming, is the moment for the flying train finally here?
Merry Christmas to all! Ho, ho, ho! Be sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe!